You see the nonsense that's being put forward on that. We're going to need your voice there, because I would just end with this, and we're seeing it in these town halls. That charismatic leader's not going to come there. You know, I see the pundits on TV. What's wrong with the Democratic Party? What's wrong is our country's being stole by fascists and Nazis, and we're trying to do all we can to try and do that. But we need to...
Several days later.
They're asking me to apologize because of that?
Well, you were talking about politicians in Washington, Republicans in Washington.
No, I'm talking about the people who are openly Nazis.
That audio clip we heard, it sounds like you were talking about in Washington, and when Scott Jensen made similar comments about COVID restrictions.
Look, we have folks marching in the streets. We have a woman in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, pulled out by a militia. I'm talking to a group of supporters and saying what's going on in our country right now is we have people who are openly Nazis and fascists trying to take our country, and we need to push back. This has been the last 10 days, Washington Post, New York Times, talking about these folks in Ohio. So no, I'm not going to apologize. The question I have is, why are they not condemning them? Why are they not condemning these people who are in Ohio doing these things to us? So, no.
So you were not talking about Donald Trump and Republicans in Washington?
No, I'm talking about these people who are there. Now, if they have tendencies to not say anything, I am asking those people in Washington, why are they not condemning this? Why is the Department of Justice not condemning these people who are doing that? So this is the story that the Republicans are asking about as we watch the federal government step on all of our rights, as we watch them go through the Social Security Administration, as we watch them do all this. This is their focus. Be better. Be better.
They pointed out that you went after Scott Jensen for almost the very same thing.
Be better.
About asking him to apologize.
Were there open Nazis marching that he was talking about? Who was he talking about? I don't even remember.
He was talking about the COVID-19 restrictions and likened it to the rise of Nazi Germany.
Yeah. That is apples to elephants. The fact of the matter.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about stolen valor, Governor Tampon Tim Walz, who, by the way, probably was the worst VP pick running mate in American history. Okay, Kamala Harris chose this guy to be her running mate because supposedly he did the things that she wasn't good at, except he didn't do that at all, right? Like, for example, he couldn't appeal to men. Okay, he was putting tampons in the boys' bathroom, right? So no man, no straight man with normal testosterone levels was going to vote for Kamala Harris because of Tim Walz, right? He didn't appeal to those type of guys, okay? Also, on top of that, he was not very good in interviews, okay? Kamala Harris is not very good in interviews. He's not very good at interviews, right? So he couldn't come out and make Kamala Harris seem competent because he's not competent. Again, just overall, the worst vice president running mate pick in American history. Probably one of the main reasons why Kamala Harris lost. And it seems as if Tampon Tim is having a hard time coping with that reality.
How in God's name did the party of the working class lose the working class voters to this billionaire who's clueless? And again, I wish there was some grand scheme amongst these guys. This is all about tax cuts. And damn, if we didn't give them every other side issue. Again, I will kick myself that I got sucked in. I bet you I spent 3 or 4 days, maybe longer, not clowning, but just hammering them over the eating dogs and cats because it was so ridiculous. And I took that hook, line, and sinker. We were talking about immigration at a critical part of the campaign, and it was hurtful, and it pissed me off, and I was standing there to defend people, and it didn't do a damn bit of good electorally.
See, I love that you're beating yourself up about this because I, too, am beating myself up over the 2024 election cycle and all the things I got wrong. So
well, it's not the woe is me. It's like we can't afford to get this wrong.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Okay, Tim Walz still coping over the fact that they lost, right? I mean, Democrats are so surprised. Why is it that we lost the working class? Well, the Democrats, they're not the party of the working class. The Democrats are the party of the elite, okay? They're the party of the elite. Look at the people who financially benefited during Biden's administration. It mainly was the top 1%. So when you look at the people who were hurt the most versus the people who benefited the most during the Biden administration as a result of Democrat Party policies, yeah, it's no surprise that the working class decided that we're going to try something else, right? The working class decided to go with the president that actually helped the working class, right? Which President Trump did during his first administration, okay? So, again, you know, Democrats are scrambling, okay? And Tim Walz, doing a conversation, basically came out and said, listen, the media, everybody's talking about what's wrong with the Democrats. Well, what's wrong is the fact that our country has been stolen by fascists and Nazis. Okay, this is what Tim Walz said. And that has gotten him in some hot water. These comments have backfired. And now the Republicans are demanding an apology. And the reason why is because it seems obvious that Tim Walz is talking about conservatives. He's talking about Republican voters. He's talking about the Republican Party. He's talking about President Trump. He's talking about everything that's happening right now because Democrats are losing, right? He's saying that the people that are stealing the country, okay, aka winning, right, are fascists and Nazis. So Tim Walz has decided that he is not going to apologize. He's claiming that his comments were not aimed at Republicans. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into some of the backlash Tim Walz is receiving over these comments.
Governor Tim Walz says he will not apologize for comments he made at a recent event where Republicans claim he seemed to compare the Trump administration to fascists and Nazis.
Now, Walz strongly denies that, claiming he was talking about small groups of Nazis in Ohio and elsewhere trying to take over local governments. Tom Hauser asked the governor about it today, and he joins us live from the Capitol. Tom.
Yeah, Kevin, whenever any politician compares anyone to Nazis or Hitler, it doesn't usually end well. The atrocities committed by Hitler and the Nazis are really beyond comparison to almost anything. The governor claims comments that he made this week were aimed at actual Nazis and not at the Trump administration or Republicans.
Apologize to them?
Governor Tim Walz seemed taken aback by criticism from Senate Republicans who say he should apologize for what they say was his claim the government is being taken over by fascists and Nazis. Senate Republicans posted the comments recorded at a private Minnesota nurses event earlier this week.
I see the pundits on TV. What's wrong with the Democratic Party? What's wrong is our country's being stole by fascists and Nazis, and we're trying to do all we can.
At a time when anti-Semitism is on the rise, we should be focusing on unity and understanding, not reckless comparisons that diminish historical atrocities.
Senator Julia Coleman and Senate Minority Leader Mark Johnson say Walz should apologize. Walz says he wasn't talking about Republicans.
We have folks in Lincoln Heights, Ohio, wearing and calling themselves Nazis, walking in the streets asking to take over that city council and the way they govern there. So they're asking me to apologize because of that?
During the 20...
Wow. Again, this is the Democrats gaslighting once again because they believe that their voters, first and foremost, are the dumbest people in the world, right? This is what Democrats believe. And, it's so funny because they make it obvious, right, how dumb they think that this country is. Again, especially their voters. Tim Walz said that the country is being stolen by fascists and Nazis, okay? He said the country. He didn't say Ohio, right? He didn't say a small town. He said the country, which implies that he's talking about the country as a whole. Now, to come out and to say, oh, well, I was talking about some neo-Nazis in Ohio, right? Like, it's like, bro, nobody's buying that. Nobody's buying that. And quite honestly, this is what makes me lose respect for some of these Democrats because everybody knows what you meant. Everybody knows what you said. Just stand on it. Right? We all know that's what y'all believe. You actually really believe that Trump is a fascist, right? This is why, there were assassination attempts against President Trump because you have people in this country that actually do believe that he's a fascist, right? If Democrats actually believe this, then a lot of them really don't, right? But some of them do. I'm just saying, some of them do, but a lot of them don't, right? A lot of it is just, for TV, like Joe Scarborough, right? But if you actually believe that, which Tim Walz, hey, that's what he said, then stand on it. Stand on it because you look weak trying to roll back the comments and say, well, I wasn't talking about President Trump. I wasn't talking about the Republicans, right? I wasn't talking about the country as a whole. When everybody knows that's exactly what you're talking about. Everybody knows that. So, I just think that this is another example of why Democrats just, seem to have weak leadership. I'm not even hurt by the comments because I'm used to it, right? It's like whatever, right? If that's what you want to say. I think the worst part about it, for the Democrats that is the fact that in context of what he was saying, he basically saying, listen, Democrats, we don't need to reevaluate ourselves, right? No, we're not the problem. The problem are the Nazis and the fascists, not us. So again, the question becomes, why is it that Democrats, why is it that voters are ejecting the Democrats for people that they claim are fascists and Nazis? And this is why I don't care if he apologizes, right? I don't even think that the GOP should be demanding an apology. Who cares, right? Who cares? At this point, if that's what these people, if they want to double and triple down on anybody who disagrees with us is a fascist and a Nazi, when the alleged fascists and Nazis have a 50+% approval rating across the board on major issues, the American people agree with the so-called fascists and the Nazis. If they want to double and triple down on that, Democrats want to do that, cool. It didn't work during the election, and I don't think it's going to work during the midterms. I don't think it's going to work going into 2028. I don't think it's going to work. So that's why I'm almost like, I'm not triggered by it. I'm like, hey, if Democrats have this mentality, if they're going to double and triple down on the very things that did not work in the 2024 election, and they're not going to work now, they're not going to work into the future, and also on top of that, again, they're showing that, you know, they're basically calling the American people Nazis and fascists, right? Because the American people agree with the Trump administration. Cool. If that's the game Democrats want to play. I just don't think it's going to work out. So, you know, for me personally, I don't care, right, if they say this stuff. In fact, if they keep saying it, it's honestly better. It's better because they're going to alienate more people. Too many people in this country agree with the president and his agenda to be calling him a Nazi and a fascist. I mean, not to mention the fact that it's totally exaggerated, right? And basically inappropriate and offensive as well, too, okay? It's the same thing these race hustlers do when they try to compare everything to slavery and Jim Crow. It's offensive. Everybody knows it's hyperbole. So, you know, if this is what they want to do, I just think this is just going to be a turnoff. It's going to be more of a turnoff than it's going to help Democrats.
2022 governor's race, Walz criticized Republican candidate Scott Jensen for comparing government COVID policies to the rise of Hitler.
Then there was the book burning, and it kept growing and growing, and a guy named Hitler kept growing in power.
Back then, Walz said this about Jensen's comments.
This is a dangerous analogy. Scott can have a difference with me on policies that we do and debate that, but the minimizing of the Holocaust is incredibly dangerous.
Oh, wow. A Democrat Party hypocrite? What else is new? Right? I mean, seriously. Oh, Tim Walz criticized somebody for doing the exact same thing that he did before the past. Unsurprising. Again, this is typical standard operating behavior of the Democrats.
Now, this is not the first time Governor Walz has stirred up controversy by talking about Nazis. You may recall in January, he claimed that Elon Musk made a Nazi salute at a Trump inaugural event. Musk threatened to sue. However, he has never filed suit against Governor Walz. Live at the state capitol, Tom Hauser, 5 Eyewitness News.
Yeah. So in context, right, he basically said that Elon Musk is a Nazi, right? And then he says the country is being stolen by fascists and Nazis. But I wasn't talking about the Trump administration and what's happening at the federal level. I wasn't talking about that, right? I was just talking about some small group of neo-Nazis. Again, this guy is ridiculous. He's so ridiculous. It just reminds me of all the lies he told during his campaign, right? How this dude has such a hard time defending himself because he just lies about everything. Just lie. Anytime this man opens his mouth, it's just another lie coming out. I can't believe it. I honestly cannot believe Kamala Harris chose this individual to be her running mate, right? Over Josh Shapiro. You know? I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand it. But actually I do, because Kamala Harris, again, it really shows her lack of judgment. The fact that this dude was picked to be her running mate. Is there any surprise that her administration, along with Joe Biden, ran the country to the ground, right? Again, considering how, look at who they're picking, the personnel that they're picking. We dodged the bullet, guys. We really did. We dodged the bullet when it comes to the Democrats and what they were offering the country. And again, like I said, my point is this. You know, I don't care if Tim Walz apologizes or not, right? If you want to apologize, he can apologize, but apology not accepted, right? At least, you know, not, you know, as far as I'm concerned. But you know, the fact is that what he said is an indication that Democrats are refusing to self-reflect. They really believe that, hey, there's nothing wrong with our party, right? Our party is great, right? The problem is the other party. But again, you got to answer the question of why is it that voters are supporting the so-called Nazis and fascists if the Democrat Party is so great? That's the disconnect that Democrats are making. And as long as they continue to think like this, they're never going to actually make that connection, which means they have no chance of reviving their dead party. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.